Now that you've seen how to copy objects, let's learn how to instance them next. Instance clones share the same set of parameters. Let's see how this works. I'll select this cone, hold down the Shift key, and drag it to the right. I'll make an instance and click OK. Now on the Modify panel, the only thing that indicates that this is an instance is the fact that the base object appears in boldface type in the modifier stack. Now remember, I said that the instances share the same set of parameters. Watch what happens if I make a change. I'll increase radius 2. Both instances are affected. In fact, if I select this other instance and change it here, it changes the other instance. So there's no advantage to selecting a particular instance. They all share the same parameters. Now all clones have unique pivot points and object properties. Having a unique pivot point is what allows the instance to have its own position, rotation, and scale. You see, this cone has its own position, and it has its own rotation. Right now it's set the same as this one, but I could change that. And it has its own scale. So those factors are unique. It also has its own object properties, and that's what gives it its own unique name. That makes this cone 02 different from cone 01. And I can have it give it its own color if I want to. And you can also set any of the object properties up how you like. For example, I could make this see-through. So those are all unique, but it's the parameters that are shared with the instances. I'll increase the height and observe that all the instances are affected. Now, instances are efficient, and you should make instances whenever you want to make identical clones. For example, instancing a bunch of task chairs in an office is the way to go, because the geometric description of the chair will only have to be stored once. Then the computer only has to store the transforms and object properties for each instance. Now this is really significant in a large scene. Consider this thought example. Let's say you have 50 chairs in your office, and the chairs take 100K to store the geometric description. So 50 chairs times 100K is 5 megabytes that you'd have to store for that. Now, that's if you copy them. If you instance the chairs, then that geometric description only has to be stored once, right? So you've stored 100K. And then the remaining 49 chairs only have to be stored their pivot point, location, rotation, and scale, and their object properties have to be stored. So let's just call that 1K. So if you instance the chairs, you'd be storing, say, 149K versus 5 megabytes that would have to be stored if you copied the chairs. So I know this is just a thought example, but it shows that it's really significant whether you choose to instance or copy. And another thing is that if you do instance something, you can decide later on down the line that you want to make it unique. For example, I can come over here and click this button right at the bottom of the modifier stack. It's called Make Unique. If I click that, basically the computer is now creating a unique set of parameters for this object. It takes a bit more to store that, but now I can change it independently of the other instances. But you can't go the other way. You can't take a copy and turn it into an instance. That's just not possible.